Welcome, everybody. We are so very glad to have you join us today. This session is being recorded, but we will edit out any of your images and questions. So please feel free to keep your cameras on if you feel comfortable with that. And if you have questions, please drop them in the chat or save them for the end of the presentation, and we will be sure to answer them. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the new Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Education, Dr. Jacqueline Burichka.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Jacqueline Burichka, the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Education. Thank you all so much for coming tonight, and we welcome you to the open house for the Master's Program in Clinical Psychology. I'm really excited to see all of you here answering a call of the heart for a future career that will help so many in our community. I'm deeply touched by the decision that each of you made to attend this event this evening to learn more about our outstanding master's program. The new Detroit Mercy Ignite Scholarship makes pursuing your degree with us more affordable and underscores our commitment to academic excellence. I thank you for joining us and wish you all the very best in your graduate pursuits.
Thank you, Dr. Burichka. And now I would like to do a brief agenda so that you can know what to expect today. In our time today, we will introduce our presenters, provide a brief overview of University of Detroit Mercy, do a deep dive into the Clinical Psychology Master's Program, review the application process, talk about the Ignite Scholarship, and share some next tips and next steps, and then conclude with questions and answers. Our presenters today will introduce themselves, and we will start with Dr. Kristen Abraham.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us. I'm excited to be here with you tonight. My name is Dr. Kristen Abraham. I am the director of the Master's Program in Clinical Psychology here at Detroit Mercy, and I have been since 2015. I'm also an associate professor in our department and a fully licensed psychologist in the state of Michigan. And I'm very excited to talk with you today about our program.
And also with us is Dr. Lee Eshelman.
Hello, I am Dr. Lee Eshelman. I'm also very excited to be here, share a little bit more about this wonderful program. I am a licensed clinical psychologist and also faculty in the psychology department.
Thank you, Dr. Eshelman. And from the Office of Admissions, we have Jennifer Goethals.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer, the Associate Director for Graduate Admissions. If you have any questions about your application or the admissions process, you can just let me know.
Thank you, Jennifer. And my name is Alexandra Hitchell. I am the Director of Recruitment and Communications for the College of Liberal Arts and Education. So any questions that you have for Drs. Eshelman, Abraham, or Jennifer, you can feel free to email them directly. We will share their contact information in the chat toward the end of the presentation, and you can also contact me. And between all of us, we will do everything we can to answer your questions and help you through the admission process. University of Detroit Mercy is Michigan's largest Catholic university. It represents the combined strength and values of University of Detroit, founded in 1877 by the Jesuits, and Mercy College of Detroit, founded in 1940 by the Religious Sisters of Mercy. In 1990, the two institutions became University of Detroit Mercy. Our Jesuit and Mercy sponsors believe in the power of education to change people, and through them, we can transform the world. 7 schools and colleges make up the university. Our physical campus is located in Detroit, Michigan. 94% of our faculty hold a doctorate or terminal degree in their field. Total student enrollment is about 5,200 students, and the university is accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. For the past 4 years, U.S. News and World Report's Best Colleges edition has ranked Detroit Mercy among the top 200 institutions in the nation. In addition, Detroit Mercy is the highest ranked private university in the state. And now I would like to turn the presentation over to Dr. Abraham.
Welcome again, everyone. Thanks for being with us. The master's program here at Detroit Mercy has 2 goals in mind. The first is to prepare students to become competent master's level practitioners in psychology. And the second goal is that we are committed to ensuring that people who graduate from our program are also prepared to pursue additional graduate study in psychology should they choose to do so. So for some of our graduates, that might be a doctoral program in clinical psychology, or perhaps it's a specialist program in school psychology, or a doctoral program in counseling psychology. And so we have these 2 goals in mind when we've designed our curriculum. Applicants are often interested in knowing, well, what happens when you leave the program? What is life like and what do you do? Our students, I'm pleased to report, do a variety of different things, which I find quite exciting. About 20% of our students go on to doctoral programs in psychology. A number of our students are therapists, and so they might work in a group practice or an independent practice or work in an organized setting, for example, like a prison. Our students, some of them teach at the community college level. So once you have a master's degree, you're able to teach in a discipline, and some of our students have done that, or they've even served as adjunct instructors here at Detroit Mercy. Others of our students might work in research. One alumnus I'm thinking about in particular has administered research through the University of Michigan. She works in a department where that's her role. And another alumnus I'm thinking about runs the Institutional Review Board to review research studies for a local hospital. So our students really go on to do a variety of different things. And I think that that's something that this degree, a master's in clinical psychology, really offers, is a flexible approach to your future. You might be wondering who this program is for. This is for folks who already have a bachelor's degree. And so we're not looking to recruit folks right out of high school. I know that we have a number of younger students who are particularly interested in clinical psychology. And I'm glad you're on the webinar. We'll look forward to your applications in a few years. But this program is for people who have a bachelor's degree already or are currently seniors and are graduating. We are interested in having people apply who are psychology majors, and we're also interested in folks who might have done a different major for their undergraduate work. And the only courses that are required if you weren't a psychology major are introductory psychology, statistics, and abnormal psychology. We're also aware that there are professionals out there who are deciding, they'd like to come back to school and to do something a little bit different, and we would welcome your application as well. This is a quote from David Farr, who graduated in 2020, and I'll read to you what he shared about his experience in our program. I'm truly fortunate to have received my Master of Arts with a major in clinical psychology from Detroit Mercy. Their excellent, caring, and knowledgeable faculty, coupled with the combined coursework alongside other master's and doctoral psychology students, made my experience unique and valuable. The clinical psychology master's program equipped me with the knowledge and tools necessary to become a skilled psychologist and a better version of myself. Supriya Singh, who graduated with David in 2020, she noted, the Master of Arts in Clinical Psychology program was set up in a way where we got to learn and practice various areas of psychology, such as therapy, research, and psychological assessment. There is so much emphasis on clinical experience, which has been a great fit for my post-graduation work. My advice for students coming into the program is to keep an open mind. It's hard to know what group you want to focus on until you actually experience it during your practicum. So I'm well aware, we're well aware that there are other master's programs in clinical psychology in our area in Metro Detroit. And I'd like to talk with you now about what we see as our unique features, what really makes us special, our signature, if you will. So we are a selective program, and we aim to bring in a cohort that is close-knit. So you travel through the program taking the same courses with your cohort. And this really provides the opportunity to build close professional relationships that ideally you will have throughout your career. The program has been well established for more than 20 years. It is regarded well in the community, and so we think of that as having a competitive prestige. The vast majority of your courses are taught by full-time, highly qualified faculty. And when we do use adjunct faculty, they are hand-selected, and we are confident that their instruction is top-notch. What I hear time and again from our students and from the practicum supervisors when students go on internship is that our students have excellent training in psychological assessment. This is really a feather in our cap. Students who graduate from this program know how to do psychological assessment very well. And this is really critical because this is what makes master's level psychologists distinct from other master's level mental health professionals, such as social workers or counselors. Our program is designed to academically prepare students for the limited license of psychology, or the LLP in Michigan. So like all health professional licenses, the state sets those requirements, and our program's academics fit those requirements. When folks graduate, in order to actually obtain the limited license, there are additional requirements that need to be done, like passing a licensing exam and accruing additional clinical hours. But our program is designed to be completely lockstep with the state's academic expectations. This is perhaps what I would call the nuts and bolts slide. So what is the program? So our program provides broad-based training in child and adult clinical psychology. The program is 45 credit hours. We've rolled out those 45 credit hours over 2 years and about 8 or 9 months, okay? So we do this very intentionally. Students take 2 courses per semester. This is critical because most of our students also hold employment. This allows them to hold employment while still taking 2 courses. All courses meet only 1 time per week. So students flex their work schedule around those 2 courses per week, and that allows them to both be a student and be a person in the world at the same time. The other value to this kind of part-time approach is that it really gives time for you to develop as a psychologist. And our faculty previously, a number of years ago, we had an option for students to go full-time in 2 years. And we really felt that your development as a psychologist was not really where it needed to be after 2 years. And so we've stretched this out into this part-time role to really invest in you as a student. And we think that works quite well. An especially unique feature of our program is that all of the coursework in our program is combined with doctoral students in clinical psychology and with specialist students in school psychology. There are no standalone courses for the master's program. Now, what this means practically is that our students who come in, they're getting a level of education that's actually beyond that of a master's degree. It's a higher level of education. The courses are taught at a higher level, and the students actually master more than the average master's student. In fact, a recent alumnus shared with me that when she was interviewing for a job, people were really impressed that the courses she'd been in were with doctoral students, and she felt that that actually gave her a competitive advantage to get the job that she'd applied for. A feature of our program that students like quite a bit is the practicum. This is an aspect of the program where you go and do an internship in the community. It's a 500-hour practicum, which includes your learning to do psychotherapy and psychological assessment. Essentially what this is you putting into practice everything that you've learned academically. So students begin their practicum at the very end of their 2nd and beginning of their 3rd year. An optional aspect of the program is a research project. So this is something that students who wish to pursue PhD training are advised to take on. And so students work under the close mentorship of a faculty member to gain experience doing research. It's not a required aspect of the program because we're well aware that for a lot of our students, going on to pursue a doctoral degree is not what they plan to do. And in that case, they don't necessarily have a passion for doing research. That's okay. For those students who do want to pursue research, this is an excellent training opportunity. And then the final aspect of the program is the comprehensive exam. This is an exam that students take their final semester in the program, and it evaluates how well they've ascertained knowledge about the entire curriculum. So it's an exam on the entire curriculum. So this serves a couple of purposes. One, it allows us to evaluate if students are really ready to go out and practice. The other thing that it does for students is it actually prepares them to take the national licensing exam. So in the state of Michigan, folks who are applying for the limited license in psychology or the master's license need to pass the National Psychology Licensing Exam, which is called the EPPP. And our comprehensive exam is mirrored after the EPPP to help prepare our master's students for that subsequent test-taking experience. The curriculum here is laid out, and I'll just kind of talk with you briefly through what this looks like. So in the left-hand column, you'll see in year 1, the courses that students take include specific courses in clinical psychology, like child psychopathology, psychological assessment, where you learn to conduct intellectual assessments as well as personality assessments, psychopathology, which is what I think of as advanced abnormal psychology, really learning how to diagnose mental health conditions. And then you're also taking some foundational courses in psychology, and in psychology as a broad discipline, social psychology, research methods, and child and adolescent development. In the second year of the curriculum, in the middle column, what you'll notice is that you continue with some specialized clinical psychology courses, either psychotherapy with children or cognitive therapy, as well as advanced training in assessment. So for example, school psychology assessment is really the child-focused psychological assessment courses, and then additional clinical psych courses in theories of psychotherapy and ethics. And then in the final year of the program, the course load gets a little bit lighter. Students are taking their practicum primarily during this year. They take statistics, which is an essential feature of being a psychologist, is understanding statistics, and that aids in your understanding of psychological research and in psychological assessment. Applied behavior analysis, which helps to focus a little bit more on interventions, again, often with children, but also applicable with adults. And then that year, students might also be finishing up a second-year research project, and that is when they take their comprehensive exams. Oftentimes, folks will contact us and ask, what makes a strong application? So there, aside from the minimum requirements for admission to the program, which includes a 3.0 undergraduate GPA, we also look for things like strong performance in statistics and experience with research. Even if you're not interested in going into research, the skills that you demonstrate as a research assistant are directly applicable to the skills that are needed in psychological assessment. So we definitely value your performance in research-based courses and statistics. We also are interested to know that you've had some type of experience working with people. It's pretty challenging at the undergraduate level to have a true clinical type experience, so we're not expecting you to necessarily have worked in a mental health setting. But if you've had experience, for example, volunteering at the daycare at your mosque or your church, that could be really useful. If you've been a receptionist working in a medical office, quite frankly, even if you've been a server in a restaurant, like I was for a number of years when I was a young person, those experiences working with people are directly relevant to your work. So we want to hear about your experiences working with people and how that helped you to be interested in clinical psychology. Another critical piece of an application is that your personal statement speaks specifically to why you want to become a psychologist. There are a variety of helping professions, including counseling, including social work, including being a physician or a physician's assistant or a nurse. These are all helping professions. What we're interested in is why you want to be a psychologist in particular. And so applications that are particularly strong speak to that in the personal statement. A common question is, how much does a program cost? Understandably, it's a big investment that students are making. The current tuition rate for this current academic year, 22-23, is $1,751 per credit hour. So for a 45 credit hour program, that equates to almost $79,000. However, beginning next fall, this fall, 2023, the Ignite Scholarship is available. And certainly that's probably why a number of you are here, is to hear about this. This scholarship will be applicable to cohorts entering this fall for all 3 years of the program. And the scholarship it's $10,000 per year. So what this effectively does is brings the cost of tuition down to just under $49,000 at the current tuition rate. So it's important to note that tuition, the university typically raises tuition 1% to 2% a year. And so that's why this number is listed as an estimate, because it's likely that the tuition will increase next academic year and so on. We don't have those numbers yet from the university, but the $10,000 scholarship will be in place for the duration of your time in the program for those 3 years. So what we're really excited about is that, as I mentioned, we're well aware that there are other options in this Metro Detroit area for programs in clinical psychology. This brings our tuition cost down to be in line with other programs. It's still slightly more expensive, but we feel that the unique features of our program that I described before really are what students are paying for. It's this individualized personal attention that comes with a Detroit Mercy education. One other note is that the vast majority of our students do apply for financial aid through the FAFSA. And so student loans are available through that. Some more notes on the Ignite Scholarship. This is a scholarship that everyone who applies to the program will be considered for. So we do not have a limited number to give out, so you're not competing with your neighbor. We'll be evaluating everyone who applies to the program for qualifying for the scholarship. And so we're very excited to share this with you. Historically, it's been my impression that the cost of our program has been a barrier to people applying. And so now we're really happy that we have this scholarship that hopefully removes that barrier. And we're looking forward to your application.
The application deadline for this program is March 15th, so there is still plenty of time to request your materials and start the application process. And I will now turn the presentation over to Jennifer to tell you more about the application and the next steps.
Yeah, so the application can be submitted online. If you just go to our website, University of Detroit Mercy, you'll see in many places on the website a button that just says apply. Click that, you can start your application. You'll set up a portal with us, so you can pause your application, you can submit it and come back later to upload the documents that you need to upload. The documents that are required are official transcripts from any university or academic institution that you attended post high school. Even if you didn't earn your bachelor's degree there, if you took classes, if you enrolled in classes, we need the transcript and we need it to come directly from the university. If you want to upload a copy that you have, you can, but we still need the official from the university. 3 letters of recommendation and a personal statement, which can be uploaded yourself, or your recommenders can upload theirs through an email link that they'll receive. And you'll want to make sure you file for FAFSA online if that's something that you're going to be, taking advantage of to fund your education. And if you have any questions at any point about the application process, you have a concern with your application, just let me know. I'm happy to answer whatever questions come up. Just shoot me an email or give me a call.
Thank you, Jennifer. And now we are going to go to the question portion of this presentation. We're going to start with a few commonly asked questions that Dr. Abraham will address, and then we will open it up to individual questions.
All right, so a question I frequently receive from prospective students is, I see the program as part-time, but can I attend full-time? The answer is no. As I mentioned, our program is really intentionally a part-time program because we believe that is the best way for you to develop as a psychologist, is over time. And so we stretch things out. In a practical way, there's no really way to go full-time because the courses that you're taking, there's only one of those sections of each course offered in a given year. And so there's no way to speed it up. The courses aren't available to you. It's very different than undergraduate study, where you might have made a choice to enroll in one of 4 different introduction to psychology courses. Here, there's one course, and that's the course that you take, and it's only offered in a particular year. The vast majority of courses are in person. Occasionally, you might have a faculty member who wants to offer a course online, but the vast majority are in person. The next question: for my bachelor's degree, my major area of study was not psychology. Could I still be considered a competitive applicant? Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned before, there are 3 courses that are prerequisites that you can take at the undergraduate level if you were a non-psychology major. And so that's Introduction to Psychology, Abnormal Psychology, and Statistics. Those courses, let's say you're a professional and you're coming back to start your master's work, those courses can be taken at any university before you apply. So they can be taken here at Detroit Mercy. You can enroll as a guest student or a non-degree seeking student, or any other undergraduate institution. But those courses need to be completed before we'll consider your application. And we've had folks do that. So they kind of finish out those courses first, and then they'll apply after that. I completed my bachelor's degree many years ago. This is another question I get. Will I still be considered a competitive applicant? So even if you were a psychology major, if you completed your degree more than 20 years ago, for example, even more than 10 years ago, the field has changed. And we want to make sure that you're coming in with current undergraduate level knowledge. So if you completed your degree more than 7 years ago, we recommend that you do retake those prerequisite courses so that you are current when you're applying. That really will make your application more competitive. And it also really demonstrates to us that you can hit the ground running when you get here. If you are an international student, something to be aware of is that due to the federal government's visa requirements, you need to be enrolled as a full for at least 9 credit hours a term instead of for the 6 credit hours a term that our students register for. If that's the case and you're admitted to the program, we can work with you to identify courses from outside of our program that you can take. But that does increase the cost of your education because you're paying for an additional 3 credit hours per term. That's been the largest challenge that international students have to deal with. Another question I frequently get is what days or times are courses offered, and can I take courses in the evenings? So courses are offered, some are offered during the day, most are during the day. Occasionally you may have an evening course. Courses are only offered once per week. So for example, one semester you might have a course on Monday mornings and Wednesday mornings. There are 2 courses in the term. Another semester you might have one on Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings. And we do expect that our students will flex their work schedules around their coursework. You are provided a lot of advance notice. So our just by way of example, it will be the end of February when students are notified of what courses they're going to be taking for the fall. So there's a lot of time to know what's forthcoming. Another question that I get often is, if I started a program at another university, will my credits transfer? We evaluate whether or not credits transfer after folks are already admitted to the program. We don't evaluate that for prospective students. So if you're interested in our program, we recommend that you apply. And then if you're admitted, then we'll talk with you about reviewing your courses. So we undertake a thorough review of your existing courses, and we evaluate whether our courses are equivalent to any of those that we can give you credit for. But it is a maximum of 12 credits that can be transferred.
Thank you, Dr. Abraham. I'm going to put the link to our webpage in the chat, and there are more frequently asked questions. You might want to revisit that page at some point. We do have a number of questions that have come in on the chat. And if you want to ask your question in person, please use the little raise your hand option in Zoom so that we can get to you. Our first question is for Jennifer. And it says, on the page for the application, I didn't see a place to submit the personal statement. Is there a separate place to submit that, or am I missing it on the website? And are there any specific guidelines for that statement? You're on mute.
Thank you. When you're going into your application, there should be a tab on the left-hand side where it says essay, and then you can upload your essay right there. If for some reason you're not seeing that or you're having a hard time finding it, you can also email it to me. I can upload it for you, but you can upload it yourself. Just log into your portal, left-hand side, it should say essay, and then you should be able to choose your file to upload your essay. And for the personal statement, it should be 1 to 2 pages. I know Dr. Abraham talked a little bit about wanting to hear why you're interested in psychology. And I think it's nice to have a little bit of room to personalize your personal statement. So you just speak about why you're interested in psychology and why you're interested in Detroit Mercy's program.
And I can add a little bit to that. So there are a number of different texts out there about applying to graduate school in clinical psychology. There's a particularly good book called The Insider's Guide to Graduate Programs in Clinical and Counseling Psychology that talks a lot about personal statements and writing personal statements. I would strongly encourage you to check that out. But the personal statement really does need to be, as Jennifer reiterated, about your interest in pursuing clinical psychology. We're interested to know what experiences you've had that have prepared you for that. Often applicants will submit their CV as well. So if you've had research experiences or particular, again, experiences working with people, we're interested to know what motivated you to think about psychology specifically. It's also helpful if applicants let us know what they're planning in terms of their career paths, because that helps us to evaluate if our program can help get you where you want to go. So knowing what you're interested in doing when you grow up, so to speak, can be really helpful as well. I will also add that it really reflects well on an applicant when things are formatted nicely, when there are complete sentences and punctuation and things look really polished. And conversely, it can reflect poorly on an applicant if their statement hasn't been polished and we see typos or incomplete sentences. That can be challenging for us to think about admitting somebody whose statement doesn't look polished.
So, and it's always a good idea to have somebody else read your statement and see that it makes sense to them. Because if they have questions, that could be something that you could straighten out and fix before you submit it. A question came in, and I think it came in almost at the same time that Dr. Abraham addressed this. The question was, are the courses online or in person? And Dr. Abraham had said that the vast majority of courses are in person, but there may occasionally be a faculty person who offers something online. The next question is the scholarship also available for 2024 admission?
So the scholarship is available to the cohort who enters in 2023 for all 3 years. We do not yet have confirmation from the university if we will be able to offer the scholarship to the cohort that enters in 2024. I hope we can.
Another question is if the student is finishing their bachelor's in October, is that all that is needed? Is my transcript?
If you're finishing your degree in October 2023, you would be applying in March for the March 15th deadline in 2024. If you finished your bachelor's degree last October, then you could apply this year.
Another question, is it okay if we do not have all 3 recommendation letters?
That would be something that would be considered an incomplete application. So we are looking for 3 letters of recommendation from people who are not related to you that you can submit, who can speak to you as a student or as a professional.
Is the GRE a requirement for the application?
No, we are not requiring the GRE.
Another question about personal statements are the 3 pages single or double spaced?
Double spaced preferably, and it can be less than 3. That's okay. Really looking for anywhere, 2 to 3 is usually what we're looking for. And typically double spaced.
If we were an undergraduate at Detroit Mercy, do we need to request a transcript from Detroit Mercy?
I'll punt to Jennifer on that one.
No, if you took classes at Detroit Mercy, we can pull your transcript for you. Just be sure that you list it as a school you attended so we know to go in and pull it.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our presentation. Here's our contact information again, and I did put it in the chat. Please reach out to us at any time. And we thank you for spending your evening with us and giving us your time and attention and being interested in this program. We hope we answered many of your questions, but we know often you'll think of that question at some point the next day. So please feel free to reach out, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.
We look forward to your applications. Thank you all.